This September garden tour is a little different because some of these beds look like the garden of a very busy person. But stick with me because in here we've got turmeric stretching 6 feet tall, strawberries making babies of their own, peppers so hot they'll melt your tongue, and even plants just clinging on like they refuse to quit. That's the real story. Your garden doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. So let's walk through mine, weeds and all. And yes, it's been a busy time. We've had a big weekend already. This is Saturday, September 27th, and today we went over to the Destin Seafood Festival for the first time. It's our 8th year living here, but we finally got over there. We paid extra for a VIP event, and well, it was a little bit of a fiasco. The line was long to get into the VIP area. There were way too few seats, but the food was just amazing. Even this little baked alligator was interesting. We're gonna go through the raised garden beds, and this month is a little bit different because we just haven't done a lot out here, and you can tell by looking at it, especially if you saw last month's garden tour, and we'll show a little bit of comparison as we go along here. But we're going to start here at the GreenStalk, and everything you're going to see is the garden of a very busy person. I have been running on projects, more projects than I can count on, and it just gets busy like some of our lives just do sometimes. When it comes down to the end of the day, I try to crash when I can, and some days I've been working till 10 or 11 o'clock at night this past week. The garden has suffered quite a bit, but wow, I can't believe those goji berries are starting to come out finally. Okay, back to what we're doing here. We're going to start off with this GreenStalk, and it's kind of interesting. I want to show you one new thing on here that I've just discovered today, and a couple of things that we knew is already coming along, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. So, let's get right on with this garden tour. You can see here we do have a lot of this leaf flower in here. This leaf flower is very prolific around here. It's called leaf flower because it creates a little flower underneath each and every leaf on here, and every one of those leaves becomes a seed, which it drops somewhere. A bird eats it, a bird poops it out somewhere, and a lot of times it's in my bed. So I know how to deal with these. They pull out very easy, and I'm used to dealing with them. So it's one of those things of keeping the enemy you know rather than an enemy you may not be ready for. Around here though, let me go ahead and get you closer up here. Of course, you can see here this is some kind of brassica, either a cauliflower or a broccoli is still going, just not producing anything, and I know it's not going to. One of these days, I'm going to pull it out. The parsley that we've been replanting in here is still here, and that's one thing I wanted to show you. I'm going to go ahead and turn this and show you right here. Look at all this parsley growing right here. Isn't that just amazing? This is the stuff we seeded ourselves right here from that plant right over there. We pulled some seeds off, we just stuck it in the ground. And there's a few of these around that are self-seeding, and that's what parsley will do, is it will just reseed itself over and over. And this plant will become very strong. So now I want to show you something that's kind of interesting that I just discovered today. We see here, now this plant here, it was a runner from this plant, which was a runner, and there's still something left there somewhere, to a plant that was actually in here that gave it up. I just pulled it out a few minutes ago, but that was a runner from this plant, which is another older plant that I have had for a while in here, and it just gave up the ghost. You can see there's actually, these are strawberry leaves right here, and they're not looking that great, so I'm thinking this one is probably going to be heading out the door. But the interesting thing is, these things keep giving runners, and looky here. This thing is giving another runner. And if I look down here, there's a hook right there that I used to hold that one in place. Remember these? Just my little 3/4 inch teacup hook, stainless steel teacup hooks. And I've got another bin over here with some weeds, and I'm going to go ahead and pull those weeds out. And this is just a constant thing, folks. You just continually bringing on new strawberry plants. And I just put that in contact right there and put a hook in there. And there, that will become yet another, if I can get it hooked in right, yet another strawberry plant for the GreenStalk. Now we're going to see the strawberry plants in the garden bed that we're starting out for next year, and it is looking less than stellar, I'll admit. So we'll have to see what happens when we get around there, but we do know that we're going to have to do some major work on this GreenStalk because there are so many weeds in here, and trees, and the leaf flower, and just all kinds of stuff. The soil needs to be amended, etc., etc., etc. And you know what? Sometimes we just lead busy lives and we do what we can and we move on with the rest. That tag is not even readable anymore, so I have no idea what was in there. It certainly wasn't all these weeds or the tree that's tucking itself back inside here. Oh my goodness. That's a whole tree right there. Look at there. Oh, there's the seed. I'm not going to lose that. Ah. Yeah, definitely get that out of there. And yes, the weeds are prolific. I'm going to come around here, friend, and show you the real garden. Yes, this is the real garden of a person that just hasn't got to it yet. But look at this turmeric. Yes, this is all turmeric, and at one point, we're going to be harvesting turmeric in here. It's going to be beautiful. We need a lot more because Mrs. Bowtie is actually starting to do turmeric treatments of her own, and we're going to need a lot this next year. So if we get 40 or 50 pounds, I'll be ecstatic, which will be 4 or 5 times more than we got last year. I do want to show you though. I mean, these turmeric plants are amazing. You can see there's actually a turmeric plant way over there. That turmeric plant is probably about 5 foot tall. We're going to see a taller one even in a little later. But you saw this, if you saw that recent video, the thank you video for helping me get my watch hours up to a point where we're almost getting monetized. And folks, look at this turmeric flower. Is this not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? This is a turmeric flower, and it comes out on this really heavy stalk. It's a beautiful flower. It actually lasts in a vase for a very long time, like 10 days or so. If you cut it off, that means that the roots on that plant are starting to develop, and we're going to get a really good harvest off that plant. Now, we should start seeing some of the other turmeric starting to flower. Now, sometimes it'll just turn brown like this without flowering, and that means that, again, there's roots developing down there which we can harvest. This will be a ginger right here. There's lots of ginger in here that we will be harvesting at some point. Not sure when, but it's looking very good. There's a few dead ginger leaves in here. Probably a few plants. Well, and I'm looking down, I can actually see. Let me show you down here at the base. See, there's ginger right there. Oh, that one's actually got a hole in it, but there's a lot more under here. And oh my goodness, look at all the ginger showing up all over the place. So yes, we're going to have more ginger this year, and I'm very excited about that. Let me take you over to this trellis right here. It is the trellis that the cucumber was on. It gave us 30 pounds of cucumbers, friend, and I am so ecstatic about that. But now look at it. Look at what's hanging down from it. You know what these are? These, remember last month we cut blackberry vines back and I just left these things hanging. I've actually been leaving these things just for this purpose because I want to show you how simple it is to take care of these blackberry vines. Now, you know, if you've been watching, you know that we had 30 pounds of cucumbers on this half over here. Now, and we'll see in a minute, we got some cucumbers over here. We're coming up on about 15 pounds of cucumbers over here on the other side. And we'll get to that when we start bed number 2. But these blackberries are now going to be the next crop that's going to appear here. So yes, friend, one of the reasons why I like doing these garden tours is because you're holding me accountable and getting me to do stuff in my garden. I'm not sure where my ADD brain would be right now if I didn't have you driving me to get this garden tour done accurately. And of course, these garden tours are for me, but really what it boils down to is finding places to stick these blackberries, which are going to be next year's production. See the nice green cane here? That means this is a new cane for this year. It's called a prima cane. Next year, it'll be a flora cane, which means it's going to start putting out flowers in the early spring. We're going to get a lot of blackberries from this stuff. Now, mind you, Mrs. Bowtie and I have been making blackberry wine, so next year, I think we want a whole bunch of blackberries so we can try new batches of blackberry wine. But really, all it's going to boil down to is taking these and fishing them through this cattle panel trellis above my head. Now, sometimes finding the place to do this is a challenge because you want to kind of spread them out as much as you can, of course, but the blackberries are just happy when they're all crowded together as well, so it doesn't really matter. And quite literally, that's all there is to it. I simply tuck these things in little holes and kind of weave them around. Now, we do have a cucumber plant going over there on the right, but you know what? It's coming to the end of its life, friend, and it is going to be okay. It's going to be declining here very soon, probably within a week or two, And those blackberries are still months away from doing any damage that might be resulting from its growing too profusely. So as we come around here, I do want to show you this. I'm going to hold the camera about eye level for me and show you this leaf right here. Now it's about a foot, it's growing from soil about a foot higher than I'm standing, but I can reach up here. This thing is over 5 feet tall from the ground. It's amazing how it grows like that. I just love seeing that. This is just something that thrills me to death. All these extra turmeric in here that are just going to be creating so many roots, and it's like a jungle in here. Yes, I love this so much. This is a favorite thing of mine. You can see on the other side here, these blackberries are so prolific. They're growing over here close to the house. These things here are going to end up going the same route last year. I'll end up finding some bamboo to put along here, and it's going to go connect up to that trellis, and eventually it'll connect over to the bean trellis, which is way over there, about 12 feet. And so these blackberries will be next year's production though. So very exciting to see all this. Plus we have an Everglades tomato in here, and this thing has given us a few tomatoes. We harvested a few last month, and those went to Mrs. Bowtie. She has long eaten them. I have not done great with the tomato production this year, so looking at other people's tomato harvest has been a little bit discouraging, but exciting to see where we could be if I got my act together. See, there's another one of these. Let me zoom out here. You can see here's another one of these vines that's coming up from way over there. We just need to fish this thing back over that trellis so it'll cover the trellis. Okay, so let's get looking at this pepper bed. And of course I have my little orange harvest bucket here, and there is just a ton of stuff growing through here. Yes, there's bad weeds in here. I say bad. What's a weed? It's just a plant in the place you don't want it. But remember, we just discovered last month that there are plants under all this mess that are still producing. Case in point, look at this little jalapeno plant right here. Look at that right there. That is going to be someone's meal. And I think there was one more on here. I thought there was one more on here. Looky here. Here's a Peppadew. Where is that plant coming from? If I sit here and pull on it, oh, there's a Peppadew plant right here somewhere in the middle of this bed. Right there. That's a Peppadew plant. And you'll notice we have Peppadew growing in here, and I'm going to be harvesting Peppadew today. This is a mild pepper. It's not as hot as a jalapeno, but it's a very flavorful pepper. We're going to be making jam out of these Peppadew here pretty soon. Not a lot of really red ones here. There's another plant on the other end down there that I happen to know does have a lot of hot peppers, does have a lot of red peppers on it. These Peri are going to be fantastic somewhere. I don't know where. I use these for my fermented hot sauce that I eat every morning, and there's just a lot of them to harvest, as many as I want. There's even some down here that are already dried on the vine. I could harvest those for pepper sauce. I do smell a rat somewhere around here, so forgive me as I look around to make sure there is not a rat nearby. But these things are going to be quite delicious. Peri, it's not a mild pepper, that's for sure. Not for the faint of heart, but it is a flavorful one. I like the flavor of these things. Chili Chump over in the UK taught me about these things, and I am going to start picking them. I haven't been as responsible as I should be. Oh, there's another plant. What is that? Oh, that's an old one of last year's overwintered pepper plants that didn't make it. What is this? Oh, it was one of my Scotch bonnet that didn't make it. None of my Scotch bonnet made it this year, so which means I don't have Scotch bonnet this year. It's a little bit disappointing. And we take the disappointments as we can. I got me little scissors here if I need them. I don't think I need them because you see, these peppers just come off when they're ready to go. They just come off very easily. And like that one there is not quite ready. A little bit orange. I can come on around here like this one right here. Look at all these peppers. Look at how many of them there are. Look at them shake. There's tons of them on this plant. But I come over here. That's just beautiful. That's just beautiful. That is just beautiful. Okay, well, anyway, that is the Peri, and I'm going to come through here and be picking those regularly. I do want to show you the next pepper over here, and I need to stand up on the edge of the bed here and try to get a better view of these Fatalii. Now these things are very hot, and when you pick them, you do need to be careful. If you're sensitive to touching hot peppers, you should wear gloves because these things can get spicy. I'll put on the screen here what the Scoville of these Fatalii peppers are. But yeah, they're great in a fermented hot sauce. But you can see, just look how many are through here. There's so many up in here, ready to pick, ready to go. This is really, friend, the first time I have harvested much pepper at all. So this is kind of new for me this year. Here's another Peri right here. I am missing my Scotch bonnet this year. See, now that one's a little shriveled. I'm going to let the animals have that one. Hopefully a rat will get a hold of it. But look over here. This is our other Peri. And there's a Peri plant right here. You can see I'm shaking it a little bit. There is a, I'm sorry, I said Peri. There's a Peppadew plant right here. And I'm shaking it a little. You can see there's a Peri right here in front that I'm pulling some of these peppers off. A lot of this hadn't really grown very big, which is okay. I'm not disappointed in that at all, because you know what? Everything I have is more than I had before when I did nothing. So I'm actually quite ecstatic. Even with the sad little harvest that I'm getting, I'm ecstatic to have something. This garden is still generous, and I still need a lot of these Peppadew if I want to make jam out of these. Chili Chump did a jam out of hot peppers. I asked him if I thought these Peppadew would be a good thing to do it with, and he thought it sounded like a great idea. So I am going to do it with his recipe over on his channel. There's a symbol in the upper right hand corner of the screen right here that actually shows you. There's a link in the description at this point in the timestamp index. And what that means right now, until I get my video done, it's going to be linked to Chili Chump's video. Oh, see, that's a nasty one right there. Look at there. That's going to be for the rats. But there's still a ton of Peppadew in here. And oh, that was a little too soon, but that's okay because you can harvest these things literally at any time. Still hundreds of Peppadew in there. Now I'm going to step inside. Yes, there's a keyhole right there that I can step into, and because I see some Peppadew right there, and of course all those Fatalii have got to go, and I see a couple of jalapenos in there. And you know what? Mrs. Bowtie just this morning made a jalapeno simple syrup for a martini that we're making, and we've got a video coming out on that very soon. I know that because we're going to be recording it tonight, and I'm a little like, oh, you know, see, this one's a little too soon to pick. It still got a little bit of green on it. That's okay. Look at all the Fatalii though. More Peppadew. These Peppadew are so good. Mild heat, very good flavor. I don't see a lot of these Peppadew that are ready. There's tons of them in here. There's Peri just mixed in here, and then of course tons and tons and tons of Fatalii. Now these things, friend, these things are hot. I have eaten them, and on more than one occasion they have really done me in, at least for a few minutes while I was eating them. They don't really affect me after eating them, as long as the heat settles down in my mouth and my ears, my throat. Once they get past that, I don't really have a lot of problem with it. I happen to know that comes from a healthy gut and regular resistance training, because I actually eat hot pepper sauce every single morning. Now, this Allotment of the Dead challenge, where we're going to eat a Dorset Naga pepper here pretty soon. Oh, did I mention that? We're going to be eating a Dorset Naga pepper with Jason from over at Allotment of the Dead. I've been upping my intake of that stuff quite a bit to make sure I build up resistance for a very hot pepper. So I've been going through my fermented hot sauce mash a little bit more than trying to reset par one over there, and I dropped another in the process. See, this one here, this one's done for. Yuck. I've been trying to build up my resistance though for that event, and you are invited to join us because it's going to be a good day. Maybe a good day to die It's gonna be a good day. Got some goop on it. Okay. And of course we're coming along here. Yep, there's creeping cucumber right there where I thought it would be. There's a lot of it in there too. Look at that. But you know what? These hot peppers are a little bit tougher than them apparently. I'll pull those out. There's grass down in here as well that we learned last month just really don't matter. But we come around over here and look at what we have right here. Now these are Tabasco peppers. There is a Tabasco pepper tree underneath here somewhere. Now that's a peri, but I do like picking my Tabascos a little more redder because I do like the heat. There's a nasty one. I can't grab it. It keeps getting away from me. That's going to get thrown away. I do see several red ones down. Can you see those red ones down there? Okay, the way that's not coming off, it makes me think it might be peri. And also the leaves are pretty dark down there. But they feel like Tabasco. It would be not a great mistake to make. But yeah, this Tabasco plant I got from Bonnie Plants at our local hardware store. Look at all these. See now, look how these things just come off. That's a Tabasco. I lost it. That right there, that's a Tabasco. Comes off very easy. You can tell them apart when they're in there. It's hard to tell cayenne and Thai hots. You know, that I pulled on that one, it didn't come off very well. That one came off very easy. That's a tiny one, but it's still good. You can harvest peppers just about any time you want to. So yeah, like I was saying, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss this upcoming live. I'm hoping it's going to be in the next week or two. Jason and I have been talking quite a bit about it lately, and I think we're both getting a little excited. I know I am. I hope he's getting excited too. And now he's already talking about eating something even hotter. I don't know if he's going to do it on a live or not, but yeah, we'll see how brave he is. Jason's talking about eating a dragon pepper, which is like twice as hot as a Dorset Naga. Okay, let's take a look at the first of these Dorset Naga plants. There are more of these blackberries, and like I said, I'm just going to keep feeding these things up through here. So these two plants are my Dorset Naga plants, or two of them. I have 3 total, but I'm really excited to see, look at the blooms coming out on here and little fruit just starting to happen right here, little peppers just starting to happen. Now this one is not the one that's developed very far. So Jason, if you're watching, don't be disappointed. This is the ones that are not doing that great. And I'm really not sure why. I think it might be the location, but we'll have to just see how they develop. This one here is the smallest, has the fewest leaves, but it is still developing. If we come in here close, of course, you can see the flower there. There's more little blooms about to come there. We have several places where we have new blooms coming, and we have a few that have already started turning, like that one right there, has already started turning into a pepper. So don't miss the last day of my life when I eat a Dorset Naga pepper. We're coming down to the end of bed number 1, and the jungle in here is just a absolute jungle throughout there. We're looking at the bee box that has not done anything this year, and I am very disappointed. I think I may need to go in and clean the tubes out to see if we can get bees to come in here again. I do want to get with crown bees and try to get them try to get one of their boxes so that I can do this properly, because this is just a cheap box I bought from the hardware store, and I'm not holding a lot of hopes on it. The pear tree here, of course, this thing has done nothing, hadn't even bloomed, so I don't even know what to do with this thing other than it will continue to be part of the trellis that the blackberries will follow on to get over to the other side. Bed number 2, and I want to show you, first thing on bed number 2 is this right here. Now this turmeric plant is growing about 8 inches above where my feet are growing. So subtract about 8 inches from that, but that's over 7 feet right there, I believe. It's at least 7 feet, I know. So this thing is growing huge. It's over a 6-foot plant, that's for sure. It's the biggest turmeric I've ever grown, and I just can't get over all the greenery on this. I'll be amazed to see when this thing flowers and when we get to harvest the root out of it, to see what happens. This is just a lot of energy to be going to nothing. That's how I feel about it. Hope that gives you a little bit of a perspective of how massive these turmeric are growing. I did not know they would grow that tall. Look here, yet another Everglades tomato just going crazy over here, growing up through nowhere, everywhere, nothing and everything. And we're just gonna let it. There's a leaf flower growing up right there from somewhere that we can take out. And I just do that. When I go through here, I get compelled by you watching, and I go in here and I want to make sure something is happening in here. And so of course we come over here. Remember, this is our second cucumber. Our first one is done. This one is approaching 20 pounds of cucumbers for us. And if you look up in here, now Mrs. Bowtie has a recipe that she wants to show you, and we will be doing it in another video. But look at there, there's a couple more cucumbers in here that we're still picking off this thing. This will get weighed up and added to the tally. 2 more beautiful cucumbers. They actually look, oh, there's a spider on there. They actually look pretty good, and I don't see any holes on them that are obvious. I'll go drop these in water, let them soak for a little bit, and make sure there's no worms left in them. I do want to point 2 more things out here right next to the cucumber. We have this tomato plant, and I'm not sure what this is. I'm pretty sure it is an Everglades, but we will have to see what kind of fruit it creates. Another thing that we have kind of stuck down in here is 2 basil plants. I thought we just had 1. I think this one is actually, yes, this one is actually in the ground somewhere underneath there. You can see part of it growing right here. And we have another oh, this is actually the same basil plant. Okay, I get it now. But look at all this basil coming out. I've actually been pinching off any bolting, any flower tips so that it'll stay longer. We do come from here, and I want to show 1 more tomato, and I really don't know what this is. There's a tomato that's kind of creeping out onto this table over here, and it's got a lot of flowers. I do know we had some Principe Borghese down in here somewhere, so it could be one of those making a comeback, or it could be one of the volunteer Everglades tomatoes again. So I just don't know. We just have to wait and see what happens, but we should still get production off of that. It's kind of how I roll. It's all I can do. The other side over here, I do want to show you. And I started this garden tour after 5, so the sun would be down. It's got a little bit of non-tree cover over there right now, but look at the beans. They're all starting to fail. This whole end down here is looking bad. And yes, someone said, oh, plant some more, but I just didn't have the time to rip these out and plant some more. But I do know that these will produce more. And yes, they produce a little bit more. If you saw me on Shawnee Grows just today on the 27th, she did a pop-up live, and I harvested 1 more bean, and we're going to be eating those for dinner tonight. But if you look down at this end down here, you can see we still have a lot of great green-looking leaves in here. And I'm watching these. We have a lot of blooms, so I'm really hoping that we can get at least a few cans of beans out of these for storage before we're done. So I don't want to shake these too much, but you can see there's all ages of beans up in here. I'm going to go over to the other side over here so you can see that side. But yeah, still waiting for our beans to show up. Still waiting for them to show up. I'm going to go right over there to the other side. And I'm just casually walking over here on the other side and see right there, yet another bean. So I'm very excited to see that. I'm always finding more and more beans on here every time I come out. And I only come out here, I don't know, once every 2 to 4 days and look very carefully. But yeah, it's looking bad. There's a lot of dead stuff in here. That's okay. We're going to make it. We're going to survive. And hopefully this thing will start giving us beans. Come on, beans. You can do it. You can do it. Of course, past the beans, I do want to show you, this is the old Everglades tomato plant. Look at what's down inside there, though. If I push you through the trellis here, there is another turmeric that's actually looking pretty good. This is one of the turmerics I planted way back in January, and it's looking pretty good, though it's, 2 feet tall. That's not very much. We'll have to see what happens. This year is all about planting the turmeric everywhere and figuring out where it will thrive. Of course, we have our chocolate mint in here, our subject of our aggressive gardening video that we did. It was just a little short. There's a link. You can see that little symbol up there means there's a link in the description below in the timestamp index where you can go watch that video when you want to. After we're done with this video, of course, we are trying to build our watch hours, and we're trying to get to the next stage of monetization as I walk around the end of this trellis so that we can be fully monetized. That will mean that we will start having a little bit more money to do things in the garden, and we would appreciate you cultivating the play all buttons on those wonderful playlists that I've been putting together for years. So yes, this is mint. It looks really rough. I'm gonna have to come in here. Oh, that's not mint right there. That right, oh my goodness, is that mint? It is mint. My goodness, that's a long mint. It's trying to get out. It's trying to escape, but it's okay because I got a bin down here to catch it all. A lot of tags down there for plants. But yes, this is chocolate mint. This is the first bag we did on the aggressive gardening video that we did, and it says right there, chocolate mint. And so yes, this is still growing in here. Doesn't look pretty, but it's going to be fine. We're going to take this thing eventually and clear it out, make it thrive. The aloe patch past bed number 1. Of course, this thing is just getting more and more buried. I am going to have to do something with this. I've been saying that for 4 years. I'm not going to lose my aloe in here. This is mostly covered with Biden's alba, but I want to show you like right here. Let me go get the tripod real quick and show you what's underneath here. Okay, so I got you on kind of a sharp downward angle here, but I wanted to show you how this stuff is still surviving, and it's surviving quite happily. I can pull back all this Biden's alba and grass. Not only is that plant okay, it's even putting out a lot of pups for me. And this can just get set right in the grass, in the ground, and it will continue to grow, and it'll become another one of these giant aloe, just like this one here. There's actually another one over there. There's one underneath this pile here. You can see the tops of that one right there on the far right side of the screen. That one's looking beautiful. There's 2 more buried somewhere back over there that I keep kicking, and then of course there's the other big one that you can see right there at the top edge of the screen. We have several of these left, and I need to take better care of them, of course. Right now I'm just gonna go make a little hole right over there and give this thing a place to be. And so yes, this is the one we just unburied. There's another one down here next to it. It was buried in the grass. There's another one back there. This is the one right here that I just planted in the sandy soil. There's one other one I just planted. I pulled back the grass here, and there's another aloe right here. And if I look closely, you'll see, oh, there's another one I can put in the ground. But I want to be a little more intentional with this area and try to get these aloe a bit more cultivated this winter. That thing right there is just beautiful. It is beautiful. Now, I've said this before, but I know the previous, oh, look at all that aloe just growing underneath there. Look at that. It's all aloe. I know the previous owner, according to my backyard neighbor, he would take one of these big stems of aloe, put a cutting off of a tree, stick it right down inside it, and just drop the whole thing in the ground, and it would grow a new tree. Aloe has a lot of really good rooting properties for other plants, apparently. I have not done that yet, but I am so anxious to try it out. We come across here to bed number 3, and I am really happy with the turmeric that is just growing prolifically through here. Look at, there's so many new pups coming up down here. I mean, that's just exciting, isn't it? Tons and tons of turmeric all over the place. Of course, we have more of these zinnias. Now, folks, if you get a zinnia like that, it's not done. All you need to do is break that head off. Well, there's the seeds. Look at there. There's zinnia seeds all through there. That we can just replant and they'll grow again. So when you see these dead heads, just save them, break them up, let them dry out, stick them in a Ziploc bag for next year, whatever you want to do. So you have seeds for next year. And a lot of these are falling on these magnolia leaves. I'm going to pull these out just for the sake of planting them. And hopefully by next month's garden tour, we'll have several more zinnias growing in here. Wouldn't that be cool to see? Yeah, it would be. Love the zinnias. The strawberries, and here we go, friend. I want to show you what we've got going on in the strawberry bed. This is, of course, the new strawberries that we're planting in this bed. The original strawberry plant was somewhere up in there. I think that might be it. I can't tell. I think that might be it with the long stems right there. We planted out several runners here. Here's a video of me pointing out several runners that we planted. A few of them we have taken and we started spreading out. We did have another strawberry plant right there. That was a big strawberry plant. It did totally fail before I got any runners out of it. But look, over here in the shade of this turmeric plant right here, we have a strawberry plant that's looking really strong. Over here, another strawberry plant, and these two are kind of in the shade of this zinnia right here. So it doesn't get too intense of a sun, but I keep trying to plant them. In fact, all those yellow flags represent a strawberry plant that I've tried to plant, and a couple of them I've tried to plant twice. And they are not taking because, well, the sun comes from right there. You can see the sun shining on my hand. This is a very sunny corner of this bed, and I may need to try to do turmeric on that side and get the strawberries on this side. I'm not sure yet, but we'll have to figure that out. We are trying to get this bed as full of strawberries as possible this year. There's another mint plant over there. Yay! I'm so happy to see that. And then, of course, our citronella plant that we took all our cuttings from. I need to take some more cuttings from this. In fact, hopefully you can see on Enoch Graham's show on the Urban Gardener the first Sunday of October, and we'll do an update on how those seedlings are doing for both the strawberries and the citronella plants. I'm very excited to see what those things have done. More of the turmeric coming up, of course, all through here. I do have right there that orange flower. That's, I believe, is my farthest over strawberry here. I don't think there's any more under here. No, there are not. This is my farthest over. There is one still right there at the base of that flag trying to survive. We'll have to see if it can make it. I do come in here frequently and pull these grasses out. I try to pull them up by the root so that we can get more of them. Doesn't always happen. Coming around here to the next little section of bed number 3, we have all this turmeric. We do have, a little disappointed, we do have more of these sago palms coming up. I know I buried a few sago palm trunks right there. In fact, it might be the trunks from our front yard. I'm not totally sure, but they are still coming up. I still have to dig on these. We do still have corms from the Egyptian walking onions all through here, and I'm hoping that those will actually grow into something this year. But again, thanks to the encouragement of you being here, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to pull a few of these weeds out, which I do very lazily. That's a tree right there. We eventually get everything cleared out. Dollar weed, all kinds of stuff in here. Oh yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And we're over here on the other, we were just looking at the other side of this bed. This turmeric, this enormous turmeric is looking amazing. And I just discovered my second flower stalk down inside here. This is just the coolest thing to me, to see these amazing flower stalks pop out of these turmeric. That means this turmeric is getting to a point where it's starting to develop its roots, and we're going to get a lot of produce out of this thing.
Tall turmeric is fun, but height isn't harvest. In Zone 9B, rhizomes bulk up late, usually fall into early winter. Your cue to dig isn't inches above ground. It's signals from the leaves, yellowing and dieback. That's the plant saying, I've packed the pantry. Around late November to January here, start by gently scratching at the edge of the bed with your fingers or a hand fork, just enough to peek at the rhizomes. If they're still small, cover them back and wait. Until then, feed light, water steady, and let the tops fade.
And of course, past that turmeric, we come up to my other favorite plant this year. This is my other Dorset Naga, and we have peppers coming out on this thing everywhere. They are still green, of course. This is what we're waiting for on that live pepper eating video that me and Jason are going to do. But you can see here, these two right here are looking good. This one's looking promising. There's another big one right, oh, there it is. Looky here. Another nice big one right here that I'm hoping turns. I'm hoping this is the one that I get to eat. Nice big one. Prove myself a manly man. Not really. If you follow along, you know I like eating hot peppers. There's a lot of health benefits from eating hot peppers, and these things are simply amazing. There is a ginger plant underneath here. Remember, ginger is an understory, and so this ginger under here is really quite happy, and I can feel it's well rooted down in there. Then we come back to our final thing here, and this is our Last of our Supersweet 100 cherry tomato plants. It is looking rough, of course, just like everything in my garden, but it does still have a lot of green over here, and so I'm going to let this thing have every last opportunity to produce what it needs to produce, to be a happy plant this year. You can see it's come over here. It started to take over the goji berry trellis, which is okay. We have another goji berry plant growing over there, which I'm a little excited about because, first off, look at these little flowers all over down here. Can you see all the little flowers? Well, let me just go over there to the other side and show you what's there. Can you see all the little tiny goji berries coming out here? This thing is loaded with them, and I'm actually quite excited to see that. These are supposed to be very healthy. Some people call them a superfood. I don't know how much of that superfood claims is true, but that's what they say. And there's some creeping Virginia in here, but we're going to try to keep that under control as best we can and let these gojis develop. And that brings, oh, looky, there's one right there. So these gojis, that's a tiny one. That's about half as long as they normally are. These goji berries, they look like hot peppers, but they're just like tomatoes. If you ever eat one of these, the first one's going to have a peculiar taste, but by the second or third one, they're going to taste just like tomatoes. It's just one of those things that does that, but there's just dozens of goji berries on both of these branches. And I'm very excited. Hopefully this year I'll have a decent harvest that I can add into something. Basically, I treat them just like tomatoes, and I mix them in with some other recipe that we're already doing with them. And so, friend, this is, of course, my own personal journal of what's going on in the garden. It gives me a chance to see what's going on this month in September of 2025. In the future, I will look back at this video and I'll see things in this that I need to remember for whatever reason. Maybe where were my turmeric at right now? When was something bloom? When was the turmeric starting to bloom? And well, September, I happen to know because I looked at last month. September was about the time that turmeric started to bloom. And it is, for me, it's encouraging. For me, it's just something that kind of keeps me motivated, keeps me going. And having you here also keeps me motivated. So I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Be sure not, still got goji berry in my mouth. Having you along in the garden here is motivating for me, keeps me going, keeps me doing things in the garden, and keeps my journals active and moving. So appreciate you being here. Please stick around for the next month's garden tours and whatever other videos we got coming up. I know we've got a mixed drink video coming up. Mrs. Bowtie is recording something tonight. I'll have to see what happens in this. Wait for that video. I'm not going to tease it too much because it's going to be a tasty one. It involves jalapenos. I think I may have already said something about that, but yeah, it's going to be very good. Keep an eye out for, and this is an important one, we're going to be streaming the Naga pepper eating video with Jason over at Allotment of the Dead. I'm very excited to try this out. He hasn't done any lives as far as I know, but we're going to see if we can get him live on camera eating one of those really hot peppers. I'm going to have milk, maybe a fire extinguisher. I think I might even have a team with me to try to keep me from doing anything really stupid like eating a second one. Believe me, I'm not doing that. So we will have live chat going, so you don't want to miss it. Be sure to subscribe and turn the notifications on so that you know when that live is going to be happening. I want to try to schedule it ahead of time so that you'll know when it's happening. I'm hoping that it's going to be one of the next 2 Saturdays, one of the first 2 Saturdays in October. I know Jason's Dorset Nagas are looking beautiful. He has brilliantly colored Naga that are just ready to go. I got all that stuff in late this year because we traveled a lot this spring. And yes, we have a busy life and things get out of hand. And you really just have to find reasons to be thankful for what you do have. Because I know we've got a few tomatoes coming out. We got a little steady stream of beans coming. I know about once a week we get a little serving of beans with one of our meals. And so that makes me very excited. The pepper harvest today, that's just really cool too. I'm very happy to finally have some peppers harvested this year. I know I could have already harvested 20 pounds of peppers. I just haven't been able to get out there to it. That's just all there is to it. And we learn how to cultivate that patience and how to have mercy on ourselves, have grace. be joyful in what we can get from the garden. Again, please don't forget we are trying to build our watch hours to a point to get our final stage of monetization, so be sure to check out some of our other videos. There's play all buttons on all those playlists, and you can just sit there and watch our videos. Comment, please, oh please comment, click the thumbs up on them, let us know where you're at, and let us know that you're helping out, because you heroes out there that are doing a lot for me, and yes, I know there are a number of you that are doing a lot for me and helping to grow the channel to this next stage. I so appreciate your time, and you know, that is our non-renewable resource that we have. We only have so much time in this world, and the fact that you chose to spend that time with me, it warms my heart, it makes the garden grow, and I so appreciate it. And as I always like to say, friend, your garden doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. I encourage you to get out, plant something. If it's a bush, if it's a fruit tree. In the spring, when the tomato plants come out, buy a start from the hardware store. Just try something, and you might find how easy it is to grow. We have all kinds of videos on how to plant seeds if you want to get into that deep, but it doesn't have to be a seed. You can go buy those little Bonnie plants that you get at your hardware store or your local nursery and start from there. That's where I started. A friend gave me a Bonnie nursery tomato plant, and that was my first plant this time round gardening successfully. And that one tomato plant from Kip, thank you Kip, I do appreciate it. That one tomato plant from Kip is what got all this started. So for the very last time, your garden doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Enjoy your gardening. Have a blessed day.